Okay, welcome to the very first episode of the Play Strong Girl podcast. I'm Maeve Liston, and I'm sitting here in an actual recording studio, and I can't believe I'm saying that sentence. I'm feeling super nervous, as you can probably tell, but I'm absolutely buzzing to finally be doing this. So thanks so much for tuning in for this first one. And I have to give special thanks to Mark for giving me the push to finally do this. He's been at me for ages about starting a podcast, so here we are. So what is this podcast all about? So I wanted to create a space that celebrates all the incredible females involved in sport. Not just the athletes, though obviously we'll have plenty of those, but the coaches, the medical staff, the S&Cs and the management. So pretty much everyone who's paving the way for more young girls to have opportunities in sport. So I am so excited for the guests that I have over the next few weeks. We're talking to inter-county GAA players, rugby players with full-time jobs, and then the full-time athletes, S&C coaches, on-pitch coaches, and we'll be getting into the highs and lows of elite sport, the injury struggles, and the balancing act that so many female athletes become masters at. But for the first episode, I think it's really important I give you the full picture of who I am first, because if you're going to be spending 45 minutes with me every week, you deserve to know where I'm coming from. And to be honest, what shaped me into the woman, the athlete, the physio, and the online coach that I am today. Some of it is great, but I think it all matters. I'm Maeve Liston from County Donegal, a lovely wee town called Ballyshannon. And I think it was a really good place to grow up when you're sport mad like I was. So from age 6, I was the child who was obsessed with sport. And I mean obsessed, like I'd be banging the basketball against the wall at all hours, trying front flips and gymnastics in the garden, and with absolutely no fear. So my poor parents were very patient with me, and I played everything going. Football with the boys at lunchtime, and I was always delighted with myself when I actually would get first pick sometimes. And then I started basketball with Donegal Town Basketball Club from age 8. And that was my first proper structured sport. But when I was 14, GAA kind of took over. So when I got to play for the county, I was so delighted. We were a great team. Like from my age group, I played with Amber Barrett, who now plays soccer for Ireland. Our minor team got to an A All-Ireland semi-final where we got beat by Dublin, and I remember I was devastated for about 3 weeks. Some of the girls from that team are still absolutely smashing it for Donegal now, so the talent in that group of players was unreal. But there's a few things about being a multi-sport athlete that I think nobody really talks about: the scheduling, conflicts, and the guilt. So my parents were absolutely incredible throughout it all though. Like they'd pick me up from school, drive about an hour up to Ballybofey for my county training 3 times a week. They'd sit in the car for nearly 2 hours while I trained, and I think they just read the paper and listened to the radio, and that was long before like podcasts and audiobooks were a thing. Then they'd drive me home again, me absolutely stinking of grass and covered in muck. So the money that they spent on petrol just because they wanted to support me and my love of sport. Then I'd be in the back of the car trying to do my homework with the light from my phone because I'd have more training tomorrow. Like my poor parents, they must have been absolutely wrecked, but they never once complained, and I feel so lucky because of that. The pressure of playing multiple sports really came to a head when I was under 16. I had a basketball regional final one day, and then literally the next day I had a county match. I know the GAA county management at the time were not happy with me at all. But looking back now, I can see that they were probably just genuinely concerned about my training load. But sure, I couldn't see it at the time. I just thought they were being difficult. I was 16, thought I was invincible, thought I could play 2 massive games back to back. And I did. But if I'd have got injured, then it might have been a different story. My leaving cert is where things got a bit messier with sport. I was still playing everything, but doing nothing really well. I won't go into much detail about it, but I stepped back from sport quite a bit. It was the first time I properly questioned whether I'd play sport again. Just was it worth it? The injuries I had, the pressure, the constant juggling. Some of my friends in my friendship group had also given up sport at that time, and it seemed to be a viable option. I was dealing with all that whilst trying to study for the Leaving Cert, and surprise, I didn't get the points I needed for physio. I needed 550 and I got absolutely nowhere near it. And I remember looking at my CAO offer for like environmental health and being like, this is not it. This is not what I want to do. It's not the plan. And it really wasn't how it was supposed to go. So I decided to make the decision that was best for me at the time. I went back to repeat my Leaving Cert, but I went back with absolute blinkers on. I was getting into physio and that was it. I got maths grinds and I stuck myself in this little revision room in the school. I don't even think I went to actual classes much. It was just me, my books, and my determination to get the points. But then around October, the girls from the local rugby club started at me. Come try rugby, they said, just for the crack. It was right after the Irish women beat the Black Ferns that summer in the World Cup. Plus, we had two incredible players from Donegal, Nora Stapleton and Larissa Muldoon, who played for Ireland, and that made me realise that, yeah, girls from Donegal can play rugby. Just a quick second to tell you about my online coaching for female athletes of all ages and all stages of their strength and sporting journey. Strength and conditioning is so important for women. Whether you want to get stronger in the gym, faster on the pitch, have some structure and accountability to stay consistent, or want to bridge the gap between early stage rehab and high level performance, I can help you get there. Everything is done through the MTA Performance app. Get your fully personalised programme that fits you, your schedule and your goals. Every exercise has an in-depth video tutorial and voiceover to ensure your technique is perfected. With the MTA Performance app, every workout is logged, and I'll use that data to continue to personalise and progress your plan going forward. And I'll be there to support you with any questions, any queries along the way to ensure your success. So if that's something you're interested in, then click the link below or DM me on Instagram, Maeve Liston _physio, and book your free call with me to get a plan sorted just for you. Take your sport and career, your gym performance, and your overall health to the next level with the Play Strong Girl system. With me, your coach, Maeve Liston. So I went to one training session. I'd never held a rugby ball properly in my life. I didn't know the rules. I just couldn't get the concept of passing backwards to run forwards. So the girls were so good and helpful, even though I was useless at like staying on side. But something clicked immediately. The physicality from the footwork from GAA, the hand-eye coordination from basketball, like it just all merged together. I was 18 at that first session and we won a competition, and the final was in Enniskillen Rugby Club on this pitch black November night where I could barely see the try line. The support on the sideline was just incredible, and I scored a really important try that night. And I remember coming off the pitch and just thinking, this is it, this is my sport. A moment that I won't forget from a few weeks after that match was I was sitting on my kitchen counter at home while my parents were cooking the dinner, and I just came out with saying, I want to play rugby for Ireland. And like mum and dad just said, yeah, sure, why not? Like that was it. Not you're too old to start, not no, be realistic. Like even after repeating my Leaving Cert, I still missed physio in Ireland by 5 points. It was really hard pill to take at the time, but I'd gotten an A1 in biology, which meant I could go to Cardiff, which was #1 for physio in the UK at the time. And in the midst of all that going on in the August, just before moving away to university, me and Mark, who'd been together just around a year at that point, his mum sadly passed away from cancer. So the thought of moving away and him staying in Ireland, it was really hard, and it was a lot for us to deal with as just two 19-year-olds. Moving to Wales at 19, knowing nobody, having never lived away from home. I remember my first night in halls. I could hear everyone partying, getting to know each other. And I was just sitting on my single bed with my suitcase still packed on the floor. And I was just like, what have I done? I called mum crying. And she said, just give it 2 weeks. If you still hate it, come home. But 2 weeks later, of course, I was grand. I'd find the rugby girls, find the gym, find my people, and Cardiff Uni Rugby was brilliant. Like proper structure, great coaching, S&C programs. Like I became captain my final year, which is mental considering where I started. And I managed to play in the Principality Stadium for one of our varsities, which was class. I also, in the midst of all that, I was flying over and back from Cardiff to Belfast for Ulster training and playing games. Like the commitment was insane when I think about it, but I was willing, and I'm incredibly lucky that my parents me supported in that too. But this is where I did something a little bit ridiculous. Like after playing rugby for probably 1 season, I messaged Bristol Rugby, now known as like Bristol Bears, a premiership team, and asked for a trial. The absolute notions of that. And they said yes. So walking into that first training session, Like, I'll never forget it. All the players that were at training that day, we had Marley Packer, Sarah Hunter, Amber Reid. Claire Malloy gave me a lift to training that day, which was so nice of her. Eleanor Snowsill was there too. Like, these were players I'd just been watching on the TV like months earlier, and they were just all in the one room. I remember my first contact session with them being absolutely brutal. Like, I was on the ground more than I was like on my feet. And I was just like, what am I doing here? But you know what? That environment taught me what being an athlete actually meant. These girls weren't just talented. They were in the gym 4 times a week minimum, following a strict S&C program, eating properly, recovering properly, like professional in every sense, even though most weren't getting paid. So that's also where I finally started taking strength and conditioning seriously. Before that, though, I'll have to give Mark credit. He had me in the gym with him a handful of times and showed me how to lift. He had such patience with me. Like, I was a torture to coach initially. Like, I hated it. I felt like everyone was watching me, judging me, like I didn't belong there. The classic gym anxiety that I know so many of us have when we first start going. But then with the uni team, we had like group S&C sessions. Like, we were all suffering together, pushing each other. Within a few months, I was squatting numbers like I never thought possible and actually enjoying the process. And that's where the foundation for everything I do now really started. Before I graduated, I fractured my eye socket and needed 2 surgeries. It was touch and go if I would even graduate on time, but thankfully I managed it. So, little side story on that, like, I literally came around from the operation and I had 20 minutes to submit my final assignment because my dad was looking over it while he was flying over to look after me. So Dad was my own essay check before AI even existed. So I remember him standing there like a ball of nerves while the nurses were also waiting, trying to take my blood pressure. So thankfully it all worked out well and I graduated that summer. So fast forward, I'm back in Ireland after graduating. I'm working as an outpatient physio in Belfast, playing with Cook RFC and Ulster. Then I got the call for the Ireland Sevens programme. I went down to Dublin in October 2019 and coming in to prep for the Dubai Sevens Invitational, like, I was so buzzing with that. So technically a professional rugby player, getting paid, not much mind you, like wouldn't cover the M50 tolls or the petrol probably for the month, but still I had Irish rugby on my kit. I was training in the high performance centre with world-class facilities. But going from amateur to that environment, this spike in training load was pretty substantial. Like, I went from maybe 4 training sessions a week max to 3 gym sessions, 5 pitch sessions, recovery sessions, video analysis, team meetings. My body was trying to adapt while my mind was just trying to keep up with everything. Training and playing alongside players like Lucy Mulhall and Amy Lee Costigan completely elevated my standards as a player and athlete. Their work rate, their never give up attitude, the heart they showed every single day. I'll never forget the impact that they had on me. I was also working part-time as a physio because the bills obviously needed paying. My days looked like get up at 6:30, drive to the RFU, train from 8 till 2, quick lunch, quick shower, drive to the clinic, work from 3 p.m. till 8 p.m, home, eat, sleep, repeat. The full clinical days on our Wednesday off then too. My bosses at the time were absolutely fab about it all. So accommodating, but like 100% I was burning the candle at both ends. So 3 months into the Sevens programme, January 2020, first week back after Christmas and the Dubai Sevens tournament, we were doing a simple drill, just catching and passing, nothing crazy. I plant my right foot to catch a pass that went to my foot. I caught it, mind you, but my knee went pop. I went to the ground straight away and just sat there. And I just remember catching the ball, putting it down, crossing my arms and going, that's it. That is my ACL gone. Like, I just sat on the ground knowing rightly what happened. I got up and I walked to the medical department, my knee already starting to swell. And I just knew rightly. Like, the physio obviously wasn't able to confirm until we got the MRI, but I just knew rightly that my ACL was gone. And here's a little bit of what I think happened. Like, I'd gone from training maybe 4 or 5 times a week to this massive training volume. Like, I'd been pushing myself, hitting PBs I'd never done before, like box squatting 120. Like, I was really, really pushing myself. My body just wasn't ready for those demands. I was also wearing long studs on a 4G pitch, which I definitely didn't think helped either. So I got my scan confirmed, complete rupture of my ACL, surgery scheduled for the end of January. And I know this will be really weird to hear, like, but I felt relieved. And how crazy is that? Your dream job, playing for Ireland, and you're relieved to be injured. But I think I knew deep down I was hanging on by a thread. The pace, the pressure, the standard, I was surviving and definitely not thriving. My body gave me an out before my mind could accept that I needed one. So surgery at the end of January 2020, 1 month of rehabbing, going up and down to Dublin from Donegal, then boom, COVID hit. The world shuts down, but I swear it was the best thing that could have happened for my rehab. I left the RFU with a trap bar, 2 20-kilo plates, a kettlebell, and some long resistance bands. And that was my rehab kit for the entire lockdown. No fancy equipment, no high-tech facilities, just me in my parents' garden doing the basics religiously. I turned into a full-time rehabber, 3 sessions a day sometimes. I had no FOMO because nobody else was playing. Everyone was just trying to run their 5Ks and post them on their Instagram. I had my focus and that was it. Jo, my physio at the time, she was brilliant. She progressed me really well and I got cleared to return to play at 9 months. Like September 2020, I was ready to go. But with COVID, I didn't get a match until March 2021. That's 14 months post-injury for my first actual game back. Looking back now, I can truthfully say that my ACL rupture was the best thing for my rugby career, my physio career, and actually me as a person. So I got back playing and I got 1 Rugby Europe cap in Portugal, then another one in Krakow in Poland, where we won the tournament. And getting capped for Ireland, even in Rugby Europe, like meant a lot to me and my family. But then a few months later, my contract was ended. I hadn't reached the standard to be World Series level. And like I knew it. I also knew that I wasn't giving it everything because in the back of my mind, my physio career was suffering. I was working part-time, not developing, not learning, just kind of going through the motions of everything. Getting dropped from the Sevens program, it really did hurt for a while. Like I'd gotten my dream, played for Ireland, and still felt like I wasn't enough. That devastating moment taught me something really important though, that your identity can't be tied to selection or performance alone. Like I'd built my entire sense of self around being an Irish rugby player. And when that was taken away, like who was I? Just another physio, just another girl who used to play in high performance sport. That identity crisis was actually darker than my ACL injury. Like at least with an injury, there is a strict rehab protocol. For identity loss, I think you're a little bit more on your own with that. So I stayed in Dublin and I kept playing rugby with Blackrock, and we actually won the AIL in the December of 2022 after I'd left the Sevens, which was amazing. But what was really giving me the most fulfillment was when I was working in the clinic with young athletes, teaching them about strength training, about fueling properly, about the importance of recovery, basically passing on all the information that I'd learned, like some of it the hard way from my experiences, and showing them that rehabbing properly makes things so much better in the long run, rather than being like pressured by coaches just to rush back. I'd also been coaching and programming for a few of my friends who wanted to get back better and stronger for their sports, and they were getting results. Girls who'd been stuck for months suddenly progressing. And then there's Mark. He has been there throughout it all. My difficult seasons, been my number one supporter through all the darker days with sport. We've had a pretty crazy 10 years and grown up together. He's a physiotherapist and strength and conditioning coach for basketball players. MTA Performance. So I think you should give him a follow on Instagram as well. He'd been building his online business. He kept saying, you need to do this properly. You're too good at this to keep it as a side thing. And then he said something that really hit me. He said, "You can help far more people if you go all in on it with me." So in August 2024, we went all in on online coaching and physio. Both of us together, we developed an app so we could create personalized exercise plans and rehab programs for our athletes, delivered remotely, but with that personal touch that makes all the difference. Telling my parents that I was leaving my secure, pensionable job to become an online coach, they thought I was a bit crazy. Shocked that I would be leaving the good, stable job, but even though they thought I was mental, they believe in me. And as long as I love what I do, they're happy. And that support means everything. What definitely told me that I was on the right track was that I wanted to do my work each day. Like, really wanted to help people, not just in half an hour appointments, but give them my full time and attention. I've helped athletes get stronger, faster, fitter for life and their sport. And that's what gets me up in the morning now. So now I work with female athletes all over the world. GA players, rugby players, AFL players, hockey players, softball, dodgeball, and even a dog agility trainer, which is class. Every single one of them deserves to play and perform fearlessly. Not just physically ready, like mentally so confident. Too many female athletes get medically cleared to play, but they never get their confidence back. They're just told to just push through it by people who've never felt the fear of re-injury. So I combine my physiotherapy knowledge with my lived experience. Like, I have been there, the ACL rehab, eye socket repairs, broken noses, getting dropped, missing selections, the identity crisis, the fear, the comebacks, the setbacks. I seriously get it because I've lived it. And that's why I created the Play Strong Girl system. So play, rediscovering the joy in movement and your sport. Strong, building power that actually transfers to your sport. And girl, embracing what makes us uniquely strong as female athletes. So that's my story, pretty much. The messy, real, unfiltered version. From the girl who was banging basketballs against the walls at all hours, driving everyone mental, to the woman who left everything secure to help other female athletes rediscover their strength. So over the coming weeks on this podcast, you'll hear from incredible women who've walked similar paths. Female athletes who've had life-changing diagnosis and then returned to their sport. Inter-county GA players and rugby players balancing full-time jobs with full-time athletic careers. S&C coaches who are revolutioning how we train female athletes. On-pitch coaches changing the game. So we'll talk all about the real stuff. The identity crisis, the pressure, the comebacks, the setbacks, how they balance everything. The conversations nobody else is having. Because here's what I know for sure, is that every female athlete has a story worth telling. Every comeback deserves to be celebrated. Every struggle needs to be normalized. So thanks so much for spending this time with me today. If any of this resonated with you, drop me a follow on Instagram, Maeve Liston _physio, and let me know what you thought. Send me a DM, share your story, tell me what you want to hear about. See you next week on the Play Strong Girl podcast.